What's up everybody, my name is Wreck-It Rob and welcome to my beginner guide to Calibria Crystal Guardians. Now I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. We're going to be going over this in just 10 points, and these 10 points I've kind of picked out so that way they're in order. So if you just do all of the things on this list in this order, you're going to progress a lot faster through the game, and you're going to work up the tier from early game to mid game to eventually late game a lot faster than you would otherwise. And I would like to ask you guys before we get into this, if you enjoy this video, if you find some use out of it, please do me a favor and wreck that subscribe button down below. All right, the first tip that I would suggest for you guys is you need to build a good farmer. Your farmer is going to be the one thing that you use constantly throughout the entire game. While you may switch out other units for some crazy nat 5s when you get them, your farmer is almost always going to be the same. So there are two options that I suggest for this. The first one is the unit that you're given right at the start. Where is she? The Angel of Death. The Angel of Death is the easiest one to pick. She's given to you immediately, and she has a good passive that allows you to essentially kill all of the enemies in a stage without having to stop between kills. This is gonna speed up your runs a lot and allow you to ascend heroes a lot faster than you would otherwise. What you want to do for your hero is you just want to stack pretty much as much attack as you can and try to get your crit rate as close to 100% as you can. So what you'll even see is I have a crit rate rune on slot 4. It's not good, and what you can see with this is these runes are not anything insane. I only have one 6-star rune on my Angel of Death, and it's not even a good rune. You can achieve this with a 4-star blue rune, but if I were to take her into battle, she could sit and go through and beat the entire stage pretty reliably. My second option for once you've kind of outgrown the Angel of Death is the Lich King. The Lich King, in my opinion, is probably the best farmer in the game. The only other one would potentially be Spider Queen, but for the Spider Queen to be truly as good as possible, you need skill ups in both of these things to reduce cooldowns. Whereas the Lich King, I can run through all of my farming with just this skill. This is the only skill that needs to activate, and he can buzz through and kill an entire stage in 4 hits. Especially for your Angel of Death, all you really need to do is just farm runes from scenario. You don't need any crazy runes, you don't need to go into catacombs. All you need is just some base runes that beef up your farmer's attack and crit rate and allow them to reliably run through Blackpool Hills 1 on hell mode. This gives you the most experience per energy and is the best place to farm. As you're farming, the other important tip that you really need to know is you need to bring as many fodders as possible. When a hero is capped out at level 40, they will still be absorbing XP even though they can't use it. So whatever XP is given to them is essentially a waste. So you see he's maxed, he doesn't absorb any XP, and all the XP that would be gained from farming stage is just gone now. So instead of allowing that XP to waste, what I suggest you do is bring 4 fodders every single time. So generally your fodders are going to be 1 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars, really whoever you need to ascend. Even if you're attempting to ascend like some of these more powerful heroes, you really still want to be bringing 4 of them just because you don't want to waste any XP. My second tip, which can kind of be shifted around a little bit on this list, it's a little bit more forgiving. You need to be building a Windwalker. A Windwalker is one of the best heroes in this game and is only a nat 3. You can farmer from Blackpool Hill, so you're going to be getting plenty of these as you're farming for XP for other heroes anyway, and what you need to be doing is using your Windwalker with this skill. Grants 30% energy to all allies and hastes them for 3 turns. This is going to allow you to out-turn cycle your enemies, which is really good in really every area of the game. In almost every area of the game, you really want to out-turn cycle your opponent because that allows you to put more debuffs on them, do more damage, things like that. This is also really important in arena where you really want to take first turn because most arena fights happen within 3 or 4 turns. When you are building the Windwalker, and I'll throw this up in the cards above, I actually did a video on how to ruin your Windwalker. Essentially, what you need to do is put a fast, agile set on your Windwalker with as much speed as you can possibly load it with, and then the other 2 runes, doesn't really matter. You could do a full agile set if you want, but the other 2 runes that you need to be using just need to be the fastest runes that you can find on your account. You can use a full agile set if you want, but the most important thing is just stacking as much speed on your Windwalker as you can. If you look here, I currently have 172 speed on my Windwalker, and I even use my skin tickets in order to purchase the skin for the Windwalker to grant an extra 5 speed. So speed on your Windwalker is the most important thing. Outside of that, just kind of focus on making her tanky on slots 4 and 6, and that's really all you need. My number 3 tip for fast progression is you really need to be harvesting all of your daily areas. What that means is you need to be farming all of your daily quests. If you go to arena, you also need to go to duel and then to fight, and you need to beat all of these every single day. These are just going to give you a little bit of boost in honor as well as in gems. You also need to be sliding over to Pirate's Treasure here, making sure that you do both of your ships runs each day, as well as doing both of your attacks each day. That's going to give you a boost of Calibria each day that can be anywhere from maybe 50,000 one day to a couple 100,000 another day. Another important one is coming up to Thanatos and making sure that you do all of your attacks every day here, as well as coming down here to Guild and doing Guild Dungeon, as well as doing your attacks in the Guild War. This gives you guild points that you can use to either buy runes, summons, a couple of some heroes, chips, but the most important thing that you need to be doing every week is buying this 4-star Ascension Cat. As well as, if you come over to the Honor tab, you need to be buying this Skill Cat every week. These are 2 very rare items that you really need to be buying every single time. Last thing you need to be doing is make sure that you check in. This just gives you a small boost to energy and guild points every day, so it's very important that you do all of these things just to make sure that you're getting this every time. With daily things, there are also things you need to be doing that are not daily, such as you need to be making sure that you do Inferno Legion every week when it resets. You also need to make sure that you're coming up to other world trials, and you're doing Vapor Dreamlands, which resets every 15 days or about every 2 weeks. You need to make sure that you run through as much as you can on common and on hard every time, as well as coming over to the Spire and making sure that whenever you get free time, just seeing if you can beat the next stage and move on further, as well as coming up here to limited events and making sure that you're ticking off all of these tabs every time you can. These just give you some very valuable resources that are constantly occurring and constantly resetting, as well as showing you some events that might not be happening all the time that give you some rare items. Like this event right here currently gives me a light dark scroll once I complete it, which is pretty rare in the game. My number 4 tip is you need to be coming up here and you need to be adding powerful friends. So if you look, I have a group of some pretty powerful friends on here, several of which are actually more powerful than I am. But you need to be doing this because you need to be getting the social points for summons first of all, but second of all, you need to be using their rep monster. So if we come back to Blackpool Hills here and we go to battle, what we can do is we can swap out my farmer for theirs. So this is the one that you get at the start. This is Una's hero. So whenever you use someone else's hero, you get all of the benefits of using them as your farmer, but the catch with using them is that you don't have to worry about your hero absorbing the XP. So what we can do is just click on one of my heroes that needs to be ascended and then take him into Blackpool Hills 1, and what you're going to be seeing is Una is going to be doing the farming, while my Ashura is the one getting all of the XP. So you see we got about 9,000 XP right there. Now let's try that again if we bring my Lich King and use him as a farmer. So this time my Ashura got 4,680 XP points, whereas last time he got just over 9,000. That's because when you use your own hero, it wants to disperse the XP out evenly to all of them, whereas when you're using someone else's hero, you can't actually level up their hero. So your heroes are the one getting all of the XP. My number 5 tip is you need to make sure that you're joining a guild, preferably as high up of a guild as you can. That means as high of a level, as high of a power, because the higher up of a guild you get, the better check-in rewards you get, the better rewards you get from Guild War, and the better rewards you get from Dungeon as you climb up these ranks more. But you kind of want to join a guild that you have a shot at being in the top 10. You want to be in the top 10 in your dungeon rankings because you get more points for being in the top 10. So if we click reward details, being in the top 10 grants us 210,000 Calibria and 210 guild devotion, whereas being in the top 20 gives you half of that. This is also the only place where you can farm for guild devotion, which is how you purchase stuff like this legendary rune pack, this mystical summon scroll, really all of these things, and most importantly, like I mentioned before, this 4-star Ascension Cat. My number 6 tip has to do with arena. You need to be making sure that you're doing 2 things. You need to be making sure that you're farming arena first of all, and the easiest way to do that is by having a single unit defense. So that means that if I were to take off all of these units except one, this is really how my defense should look during the week. It should be relatively easy to beat, so that way these arena points right here go down. Whenever those go down, I get easier people to fight when I come here. That's always better because it allows you to fight and win as many times as you can and get as many honor points as you can each week. That allows you to buy skill cats. You can also buy essence with it, unknown summons, mystic summons, really anything that you want from the honor shop, with this being really the only place that you can get a reliable stream of it. With this, you also need to be making sure that on Sundays, about an hour to 2 hours before arena resets, you need to be putting back in your full defense and then coming down here to duel and making sure that you can fight as many of these to blow through all of your arena challenges that you can. The reason you want to do this is because you can see weekly rewards right here. If we go and click on that, the higher up you go, the higher up you can rank each week, the more rewards you're given each week. As you can see, if you can rank within the top 5 on your server, you can actually get 3 light dark scrolls every single week, as well as 750 gems. You can also get that for doing it in Apex Arena. Everything I said for normal arena applies here as well. All right, number 7 on my list is you shouldn't be focusing on catacombs first. What I mean is, in other gacha games, the kind of dungeons like this are generally where you stick in early and mid game. That's not exactly the case here. These are a lot harder to farm than if you come up to Otherworld Trials and farm the lair. You also get runes from farming the lair, and what you get here are runes that are worth a lot more money, and for early game are a lot more useful. They're a lot more useful in early game because you get these team runes. Team runes boost every single hero on your team. This is really useful because if you're able to put a full conflict set on every single unit on your team, you can potentially skip immediately to doing speed teams in the catacombs. This is going to speed up your progression because you're not sitting here running Colossus for 5 minutes just to get a rune that you may or may not need. If you come up here, you're only farming for either quartz or the rune set that you actually want to farm for. This allows you to rune your units a lot faster and progress in world boss a lot faster. So one of the things you want to do for this is making sure that you're building a reliable lair team. You can see my lair team right here. It's just Elven Queen, Druid, Jungle Heart, and then Golem. That's the first row. You want to make sure that you put them up here in the first row. Second row, doesn't matter as much, but these are traditionally your nukers or damage dealers. You can see I have 1 Archmage, 2 Holy Swordsmen, and then a Barbarian. I don't have to have any of these here, and I could run this team. I could pull out my Archmage, and I could pull out all of these Nat 4s and use Nat 3s. And for this team, you don't have to have any kind of crazy runes. You can actually beat any of the Chimeras with just runes that you get from Scenario. As you begin to farm this, what I would suggest is taking the conflict runes that you get off these and putting them on pretty much every single unit here. That's going to speed up your run, allow you to get a lot of runes a lot faster, and progress through the game a lot faster. Outside of your Chimera team, what I suggest is taking the corresponding unit, so the type of unit here. So my Yaksha is a tank, so that traditionally means HP based, and you want to be throwing on the team runes that correspond to what her type is. So she was a tank type unit, which traditionally means HP based. So we take prayer runes and put it on her. Same for my Barbarian, who's an attack type unit. We put conflict sets on him. And my Ashura, who's a defense type unit, we would throw unity runes on him. This is important because of number 8. For number 8, what you need to be doing is whenever you're doing your attacks in Thanos, you don't need to be auto deploying. What you need to be doing is selecting the types of units and putting them together. If you have conflict sets on all of your attack type units, you want to take all of those attack type units and have them attack together. This is going to boost their attack the most and make sure that you get the highest points that you possibly can. This is going to allow you to get more attacks and more resources essentially every day. My number 9 tip is you need to be choosy with the units that you're 6-starring. What I mean by that is if you get some crazy Nat 5, don't build that Nat 5 if it doesn't make sense for where you're farming. So right now, currently the place that I spend most of my time is in the lair. I do this because I'm still farming for team runes to progress even further into the game. If I were to get some crazy Nat 5, it doesn't make sense to throw it here because essentially the best hero that you can get for your back row, which is where it needs the most help, is Holy Swordsman. So my goal is ultimately to add 2 more Holy Swordsmen to this, and that's going to have the fastest team that I can build. An especially good example of this is when you first start the game, you're given the Angel of Death. My recommendation is 6-star your Angel of Death first, and then worry about other things next. It doesn't make sense to 6-star something over your farmer because you're still kind of going to be stuck in one spot for a lot longer if you don't 6-star your Angel of Death first. Whereas if you're building a lair team, what I suggest is getting the Golem and 6-starring him next. This just makes your time more efficient and allows you to progress faster through the game because you're only focusing on the area that you're currently working on. My 10th tip is that you need to be patient. Gacha games like this take a long time. For a lot of people, they'll be playing these games for years before they can compete with some of the top players. You don't hear about success stories in these games where you've only been playing for, a couple of weeks, a couple of months. These games are for the long haul. Personally, I've been playing Calibria for about 6 months. Before that, I was playing Summoner's War, where I spent about a year there. During my time playing Summoner's War, I was nowhere near the top, and I was playing for a year, and I spent some money on it. So the more you can get it into your head that you're going to be playing this game for a long time if you're truly committed to it, the easier it's going to be to actually make that commitment. I know I said I was only going to do 10 tips, but I'll throw in a bonus one here. Number 11, my final tip, is that you need to ask questions. If you don't understand how to use the unit, ask a question. If you have a question, search it on YouTube. One of the content creators for the game has most likely answered the question in one way or another, and if they haven't, pop down in the comment section of one of their most recent videos and ask your question. I can't speak for every single content creator, but I know I can speak for myself when I say that I traditionally reply to every single comment. So if you were to go on to the comments of this video section and ask me a question about something that you're unsure of, most likely you're gonna get a response from me in about a day. Another thing that you can do is join the Discord for the game. I'll put the link to it down in the description below. The Discord is full of, at the moment, about 3,000 players, all of which who can probably answer whatever question you have about the game. This game gets thousands of downloads every month. There are plenty of new players, just like you. Feel free to go out and ask them. That is it for my beginner guide to Calibria Crystal Guardians. If there's something that older players think that I missed, please do me a favor and let me know down in the comments. Once again, if you have any questions about the game that you don't think I answered, also throw those down in the comments. Also do me a favor, if you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and wreck the like button as well as the subscribe button. And just a reminder, once again, if you plan on being a part of my 500 subscriber giveaway, you need to be making sure that you're liking, commenting, and subscribe to my channel in order to be eligible to win the giveaway. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later.